presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are Southwest.
It was another Adrian Beltre night last night. 2 home runs, 4 hits, as the heartbeat of the Texas Rangers once again led the offense to a 6-2 win in Tampa Bay. An emotional night for their leader, and today he hopes to make it 2 in a row as the Rangers and Rays get together once again here at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. It is indeed the middle game of our 3-game series. We welcome you into the booth. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond with Steve Busby, and it was a quintessential Adrian Beltre night last night and an impressive 6-2 win. Buzz, it's been more, though, than just one night for Adrian Beltre.
David has, and every time we turn around, the Rangers are relying on Adrian Beltre, whether it's with the glove or with the bat or in the clubhouse leading the ball club there. Adrian Beltre answers the bell every single time out. The last 12 ball games, for example, Adrian a .447 average, 5 home runs, and 14 RBI in those 12 games. He also has 8 multi-hit games, so it's not just a couple of games where he went crazy. He's been going crazy now for about 4.5 months or so. The Rangers will follow him down that lane because Adrian is the consummate leader, the consummate professional, and a great Major League Baseball player that the Rangers are fortunate enough to have leading them.
Very much the heartbeat of this franchise, Adrian Beltre. Now, when we return, John Radigan sits down with Jurickson Profar to talk about his spot now atop the lineup for these Texas Rangers. Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, it's nice outdoors. It's perfect indoors as we get ready for baseball. And we check in with the third member of our crew tonight, John Radigan.
Yeah, Dave, thanks very much. Jurickson Profar will do something tonight for just the 29th time this season, and maybe just the 29th time in his entire baseball career. Throughout all of his time coming through baseball, even in the minor leagues, he was generally a number 2 or number 3 hitter in a batting order. But for the 29th time this season, tonight, he is batting leadoff, and he couldn't be happier about it.
I love it, just batting leadoff in front of our lineup. It's fun for me, just go there and then try to have a good at bat, get out base for the big guys.
Rightly and wisely, Jurickson says he has a big smile on his face anytime he sees his name on the lineup card. But it is a special opportunity for him to set the table and be that table setter for these big guys that are hitting behind him. They will get after that here momentarily. It's almost time for the starting lineups in the first pitch. Game 2 between the Rangers and the Rays on Fox is next.
and 50 overall. And today, Jeff Bannister going with Jurickson Profar again in that leadoff spot in left field. Ian Desmond bats second in center. Then it's Carlos Beltran, the DH. Adrian Beltre off a huge night last night at third, batting cleanup. Rougned Odor at second base, bats fifth. Batting sixth, the catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. Mitch Moreland at first will bat seventh. Batting eighth, Nomar Mazara at right field. And Elvis Andrus been just terrific down there with a ninth spot in the order and playing short tonight.
And the Rangers had their hands full tonight. Jake Odorizzi on the hill for the Tampa Bay Rays. A fastball splitter, cutter, and slider, the repertoire for the 26-year-old right-hander. He's been very good since the All-Star break. We'll detail that more for you as we get into this first inning. Ranger hitters, though, will have to change their method of attack. It has not been very successful. Odorizzi is 3-0, or I should say 1-0 in 3 starts against the Texas Rangers with a 1.37 ERA. So the Rangers, not much success, but Odorizzi, and the Rays hope that Odorizzi is now coming into his own because he has had a lot of promise for the Rays in the past couple of years. And he looks to be the featured right-hander now in this rotation as we get going.
Well, his name bandied about so much around the trade deadline, and I think local fans happy to still have him on the club. As we take a look at the defense behind him, it's Dickerson in left, Matuk in center, and Souza in right. Longoria and Duffy left side of the infield, Beckham and Miller on the right, and Luke Mailey will do the catching this evening for Jake Odorizzi. All set to go, and the right-hander fires one down the middle for a strike to Jurickson Profar. Profar with the 5 home runs yesterday, snapped an 0 for 19 with a double in the 3rd inning. He also walked with the bases loaded in the 6th last night. Ball's behind here, 0-2. Interesting to hear his thoughts before the game today about being in that leadoff spot, setting the table, creating a little havoc out there before the heart of this order. And he's a guy who can hit for a little power as well, and that's one of those things. Again, some teams have that luxury of that leadoff guy who can run into a few every now and then. He does have 5 home runs this year. This one popped up back of 3rd. In fact, deep enough to get out into left field. Dickerson coming on, and there's one gone. Taking a look at our Kubota power stats, and Odorizzi, his numbers pretty good so far this year, but boy, since the All-Star break, really nobody better. A 1.66 ERA, that's best in the American League. The 4-0 record. Boy, the strikeouts to walk, very impressive for the Rays right-hander. Ian Desmond up there hacking away at the first pitch he sees.
Yeah, and I think that approach by Ian Desmond you saw on the first pitch going up there, the first fastball you see that's down a little bit in the zone, you want to have a pretty good hack at it, because Odorizzi can put people away both up and down out of the strike zone.
This one lined out into right field, base hit for Desmond. And as you talked about last night, Buzz, and we detailed again in the pregame show today, there's Desmond going the opposite way.
Yeah, and he's taking the outside part of the plate away from a lot of right-handers. Odorizzi's no different. That's not a bad pitch. Just off the outside corner, maybe right on the black, but well, that's the way that Desmond is swinging right now. That is right in his wheelhouse. He's not looking to pull that ball at all. He's looking to hit a line drive somewhere between the foul line and right center field. And he'll do that day in and day out if you allow him to.
Good start for the Rangers. A base runner now for Carlos Beltran. And Odorizzi goes with the breaking ball. Beltran still a little better than 300 for the year. The 24 home runs. But was collared last night in 5 tries. One of the few quiet bats in yesterday's game. And ahead here 2-0.
And Beltran, as a member of the Yankees, really did a number on the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, he'd seen them 18 times, 19 times a year with the Yankees, so he had a pretty good idea what they were going to try to do to him.
2-0, and that one just missed. So Odorizzi, we saw the numbers since the All-Star break, just 7 walks allowed. Well, he has been in the zone as a general rule. And he comes right down the middle for a strike to Carlos Beltran.
Now Odorizzi respecting the statistic that tells you that in the last 6 games that Carlos has hit against the Rays here at the Trop, he's had 3 home runs.
Check in on Desmond. Beltran hitless in his last 9 at-bats. It's coming on the heels of a big game back home against Oakland. A 4-hit night. He takes the walk, and the Rangers have 2 base runners in the first inning already. Well, now Adrian Beltre. Beltre had the monster night last night, and we did not learn until after the ball game that he was playing last night's game with a bit of a heavy heart. His grandfather, Jose Joaquin Beltre, passed away on Thursday. Kidney disease, and Beltre a little emotional yesterday. In fact, had a tough time really even addressing the media after the game. And he takes a strike from Odorizzi. One of the things we noticed last night, in fact, John Radigan asked to the postgame show, hey, guys were kind to Adrian, didn't balk him on the head after the home runs, only to find out just a little bit later last night that it was a very tough, emotional night for Adrian.
Yep.
As you can see, he channeled a lot of that emotion last night into a huge night at the plate. The 2 home runs, giving him 21 for the year. Desmond at second, Beltre at first. He's down in the hole here, 1-2.
That's that good split-fingered fastball that Odorizzi will use to great effect. Bottom really falls out of that. And, he's tough. He gets that fastball riding up to the top of the strike zone, that splitter going down out of the strike zone.
Right-hander readies, and he gets Beltre to chase strike 3. So 2 out in this first inning. And it's still another tough hitter coming for Odorizzi.
The one before, you saw the splitter down below the D's. This one up above the shoulders. And Adrian having to cover, probably the strike zone plus about 2 feet. Pretty tough to do.
So now Odor. First pitch to Rougned. And it's ball 1. Odor 0 for 5 last night. And in a bit of a scuffle lately. The last week has been a little tough on him. Just 2 hits in his last 5 games. But otherwise, career numbers for Rougned. One right on the inside corner. 1-1. Now, if you're going to get to Odorizzi, you like to do it early. He's earned run average in the first 2 innings more than double what his ERA is the remainder of the game. So it sometimes takes him just a bit to settle in. And Odor pops it up third base side. Longoria will handle it himself. And the Rangers leave a couple of men on in their half of the first inning. Now A.J. Griffin will be headed out to the hill. And now the Rays will get their shot. 50-70. And Kevin Cash today sets it up with center fielder Mikey Matuk at the leadoff spot. Corey Dickerson in left field bats second. Evan Longoria batting third, playing third, and then Brad Miller, their first baseman, is cleanup. Matt Duffy at short. Logan Morrison, the DH, bats sixth. Then it's Tim Beckham, Steven Souza Jr., and Luke Maley catching and batting ninth for Tampa Bay.
And that's Kevin Cash's lineup that will face A.J. Griffin tonight, the 28-year-old right-hander making his 17th start of the year, 5-2 with a .468. He gets that out on the first pitch, huh?
That's a great way to start it. A pop up on that left side, and Beltre making his presence known. He'll take care of it.
Well, A.J. on pace for a 27-pitch complete game here tonight. 84 2/3 innings out of the belt of A.J. Griffin. Spent a little time on the disabled list. Had some shoulder problems earlier in the year. And since he's come back, not quite the same success he had earlier in the season before that shoulder surgery or shoulder injury shut him down. But A.J. very much back in the thick of things for the Rangers, and a very important spot in the rotation to pick up after Hamels and Yu Darvish and Martin Perez.
He gets his first out, and now up and away to Corey Dickerson. Dickerson getting the start in left field tonight for the Rays as they continue to battle a very banged up roster. And a challenge for Kevin Cash to fill out his lineup card lately. Dickerson gets the nod in left field. Yesterday, Kiermaier had to leave the game in the second inning with his sore hip. Gave way to Nick Franklin, who is now on the 7-day concussion protocol. This ball ripped down the right field line, and a fair ball. Just stays in and jumps up into the stands, and it's an automatic double for Corey Dickerson.
Yeah, it looked like Dickerson got that fastball that stayed up and was supposed to be inside. I don't think it ever got there quite, just on the inside corner. Give Dickerson some credit. He's pretty quick in there. Good job. Most left-handers are not going to handle a pitch in that location that effectively, but Corey Dickerson did.
So the Rays have a base runner in scoring position in their first inning. And their most dangerous hitter, Evan Longoria, at the plate. Longoria with 27 home runs this year. Having perhaps his best offensive year along with his best defensive campaign. In a short, very good career, and it takes a breaking ball and lines this one just over short into left field, a base hit. Dickerson with great hustle from second base, but here comes a throw, and it bounces too high for Lucroy to have a play. Dickerson scores, and the Rays lead 1-0.
Well, the guy that is the run producer for the Rays put in a spot where a base hit can hurt you. And A.J. Griffin not able to get that slower breaking ball out of the reach of Evan Longoria. He's got pretty good plate coverage. Not a bad pitch, but Longoria in a run producing situation is going to expand that strike zone and swing the bat.
Now the first pitch to Brad Miller in there for a strike. Miller, a very powerful left-handed hitter. He's 25 home runs, a career best for him. And he's been on a big tear since the start of the month. 8 home runs in August for Miller. Now Griffin working from the stretch of this first inning. And gets a big swing and a miss. You mentioned the injury earlier this year slowed him down a little bit. He left to start in Detroit in the third inning, placed on the DL. Some stiffness in that right shoulder. This is a big comeback year for A.J. Griffin. And he gets Miller swinging. Second out of the inning. Take a look at the Rangers defense tonight, delivered to you by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Profar in left, Desmond in center, and Nomar Mazara in right. On the left side of the infield, it's Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus, Rougned Odor and Mitch Moreland on the right side.
And Jonathan Lucroy doing the catching tonight for A.J. Griffin. Jeff Bannister has his team 23 games over 500. In first place in the American League West with a 7-game lead over the Mariners. We are inside 40 games to go in the regular season. Swinging a soft liner over short, and that one gets in for a base hit. Stopping at second, Longoria. And Duffy with the 3rd hit of the inning for the Rays. It's a Rays team that did not get a base hit last night until the 6th inning. And yesterday finished with just a total of 6 hits.
Duffy able to fight off that pitch inside. That was a pretty good pitch too by A.J. And unfortunately, Duffy quick inside with that short stroke of his.
A couple of base runners for Logan Morrison. Bottom of the first, Rays off to a good start tonight. Up and away to Logan Morrison. Yesterday, Morrison 0 for 3 with a walk. He's been batting 6th for this team, acting as their DH, a guy who has battled injury problems himself over the years. One time a little high and a little tight, 2-0. Morrison, a guy that the moment he came up with the Marlins, he positioned himself as a guy with great power. Played some pretty good defense down in Miami as well when he came up. Lifts this one near third. Will pop up, playable for Beltre. Back to the bag in foul ground, and the inning is over. So the Rays have to settle for 1 run on the 3 hits. A.J. Griffin strands a couple out there as we go to the 2nd. Post-game fireworks show on Friday, August 26th, presented by Takis. Come out to the ballpark, see the Indians and Rangers, and then stick around to enjoy a post-game fireworks show. Set to John Williams' iconic score from Star Wars. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. We'll begin playing the 2nd inning, 1-0 Rays. And Jonathan Lucroy leading it off. It's 1-1. Lucroy, you see his overall numbers this season, both with Milwaukee and with the Rangers. But 7 of those 20 home runs were the Rangers in this first portion of the month of August. So he has feasted on American League pitching since the trade right at the deadline. Last night 1 for 5 with a run scored, and a breaking ball carves off the outside corner. It's 2-2. And I don't know what's been more impressive, Buzz, the offensive production from him or his ability behind the plate.
Well, the whole package has just been outstanding.
Bouncer shortstop. Duffy right there. And that's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, I think the Rangers knew that, had an idea, had a good idea of what he was going to bring to the ball club. I think it surpassed what even they had hoped for. Because Jonathan Lucroy has not only worked his tail off, getting to know the Ranger pitchers and the ball club, he's fit in seamlessly, and he's become a very quiet leader, particularly behind the plate for this club.
Well, we saw last night, Cole Hamels was working very rapidly last night.
Yep.
And I don't know that I saw him shake off Lucroy once. I was asking Doug Brocail about that today. I said, did he shake him off once? And he couldn't remember one. Point being that right now these guys have so much confidence in Lucroy that he puts fingers down and they're like, all right, trust you. You know what you're doing. And they get up there and they throw with that conviction. And boy, did he throw well last night, Cole Hamels. No hitter into the 6th inning. Struck out 10 in his 7 1/3 total. Strike to Moreland makes it 2-1. Mitch just a couple of home runs shy of tying his career high of 23 home runs in a season. It's this ball out into left center field. Maho able to come in a couple of steps and make the play. So Odorizzi off to a pretty good start so far tonight. Gave up the single to Desmond, the walk to Beltran, but that's been all so far in these first 2 innings as Nomar Mazara will get his first look at the right-hander. Nomar with another RBI last night. And takes a good breaking ball. Hitting at .298 for his last 16 games. 21-year-old rookie. He's had an awfully big year, and it's been a great opportunity for him not just to get to the big leagues, get a feel for how it works at this level, but he has gotten all kinds of time and exposure. And has proven up to the task. One ball, one strike. I think a little bit like you were saying about Lucroy, you have a lot of faith in some of your prospects, the top prospects. You expect big things of them eventually. Now, he got the opportunity maybe quicker than anticipated this year.
Yep.
And I think, you know, I don't want to say surprised to the upside, but once they've seen him now in action, pretty impressed with what they've been able to see this year. And he goes down swinging for the final out of the inning. A 1-2-3 for Odorizzi. We played 1.5. Rays lead it 1-0. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Bottom of the second inning, and A.J. Griffin. Little high to Tim Beckham to get us started. Bottom third of the order for the Rays. Beckham, Souza, and then Luke Maile. Griffin right back at him, just misses in. Beckham at .212 for the year. It reached on an infield hit last night in the 9th inning on a 1-for-4 night. He hits this one high in the air, deep left field, but it's going to stay in the yard. Profar wandering the warning track and able to pull it down. Now Steven Souza Jr. Well, Souza, originally drafted by the Nationals in 2007, a third-round pick. Came to the Rays in a 3-team trade in December of 2014 after a real big year in the minor leagues in 2014. Very athletic outfielder. And that's what they drafted him, thought of him as an infielder, but turned him into an outfielder after a couple of years in the minor leagues. He and Ian Desmond spent some time together in the Nationals organization. They spent a lot of time here together yesterday chatting things over. Both of them at times infielders in the Nats organization, and now both outfielders. Two and one the count. You see, it's been a struggle for Souza lately, but he hit a ball yesterday. My goodness, one in the 8th inning last night. Absolute rocket, and this one hit well down the left field line toward the pole and foul. Strike two.
Yeah, he didn't quite get all that the way he did the one last night. You're right, Dave. That ball he had last night, StatCast had it at 450 plus. And this one had a little hook on it, fortunately.
Two and two the count now to him. And he takes a breaking ball and turns it foul again. Apparently he's a source of a lot of entertainment and fun for the Rays. Not necessarily by intent. He's not a class clown kind of guy. A little more like Woody from Cheers. Just a guy who finds himself in odd situations or humorous situations at times, and doesn't mean any harm, but sometimes a little goofy. They got shut down by the Royals. Danny Duffy a few weeks ago, 13 strikeouts, just absolutely handcuffed. Next day, Souza, he just thought he'd be nice and go over to Duffy, tell him he did a real nice job after the game. And boy, he was complimenting him on and on about the great effort. Turns out it was Alex Gordon. He couldn't figure out why Duffy didn't respond a little more favorably. The fly ball to right as the second out of the inning. And his teammates just loved watching him over there talking to Gordon, telling him what a great pitching performance he had turned in the night before. Bit of a character. Two gone now, and here's Luke Maile. Maile at 213. Just the 9 RBIs. We have some spots in this order right now that look like they might be a little overmatched at times. A lot of young players is often the case here in Tampa. Maile has always been regarded as very talented defensive catching prospect. Hits this ball hard, though, to left field, and that one will come down in the seats. Nearly as far as the ball that Souza hit last night. First home run for Maile, and it makes it a 2-0 Rays lead.
Well, AJ now has given up home runs in 11 straight starts. And when you make pitches in this general area, you're going to give up a lot of home runs. That is pretty much center and everything. Maile knew it was gone when he touched it off. His first career home run for Luke Maile.
Now a strike to Mahtook. Maile played 15 games at the big leagues last year. A cup of coffee in September. And now his first major league home run. Popped up by Mahtook. Odor back out into short right field. Makes the catch, and the inning is over. Rays out another. As we go to the third inning, they lead 2-0. Sunday, August 28th, the first 15,000 fans will take home a Texas Rangers Star Wars poster. Compliments of Takis. Purchase your tickets today at TexasRangers.com. Big homestand coming up for the Rangers. This is the middle game of 3 here in Tampa as Elvis Andrus starts things off in the third. Andrus yesterday with a walk and a base hit in his 4 trips to the plate. And he continues to swing it pretty well lately. 4 for his last 7 with a walk as he tried to hold up. And indeed, Jim Wolf, our first base umpire, agrees. 2-1. We go back now about a 2-month stretch for Elvis, 55 games. He's hitting at a .315 clip. Batting in the 9th spot in the order, but that's not so much an indication of what Jeff Bannister thinks of his offensive skills. He likes putting a little speed, and the guy can get on base down there at the bottom of the order, help stack some rabbits out of the bases for the heart of the order. And it's a full count now. Odorizzi's payoff. And a liner into center field, base hit. Andrus with an aggressive turn from first. He'll go to second. He'll coast in there. A stand-up double to lead off the third inning.
Well, Elvis making this double coming out of the box, too. He thought all the way. As soon as he made contact, saw where they were defending him. He knew there was a pretty good gap in left center, and Motuk was going to take a while to get over there. And Elvis never hesitated. He had double in his mind as soon as he left the batter's box. Nice job of hitting. Get the count in your favor and zero in on a pitch and go ahead and drive it.
It's now scoring position. And Profar will get him home. A roller into right field, base hit. Andrus turns. No, they're going to stop him. Job by Souza to cut that quickly and get it back into the infield. So Rangers will have him on the corners.
Yeah, Elvis was thinking about stopping right there. He's slowing down. He picked up Spike Owen. Nobody out. You're not going to try and score against a guy like Souza who has a pretty good arm, but the turf, the ball gets to the outfielder so much quicker. Almost impossible on a hard hit ball to, unless it's in a gap somewhere, to score somebody from second.
So 2 men out there. And Desmond, who singled in the first, will get his shot. Middle of the infield at double play depth. TXU Energy Power player to watch. Ian Desmond going the opposite way as he did in the first. Now 48 times this year. He's as good as there is. And that was the case when he was with the Nationals as well. One of the I guess hallmarks of his time there. 1-1 the count to Desmond.
Yeah, we've talked about this, Dave, with Desmond. He has the ability to go foul pole to foul pole against anybody. And he has that ability with power when he's swinging the bat well, too.
In today's game, just so many guys who hit for power sell out to that pull tendency so much. And you see a guy like Desmond, and they tend to stand out a little bit. Guys who will use the whole field. One. Got ahead of that one. Now we were talking about this at the pregame show today. Talking about going foul pole to foul pole. Now this was the last 10 games, and he's spread it all around.
Yep.
Not too wet when you see the defensive sets against him. They are typically fairly straight up. And that is not the case very often anymore. Usually fairly dramatic shifts for just about any hitter. Motuk in center field. He's been shading to right quite a bit so far tonight. Might be more to do with Odorizzi's strategy than it is so much the tendency of a hitter. Rangers had a couple of men on in the first, unable to get any home. Now the first 2 men on here in the third. Desmond, though, down swinging, and that's the first out of the third inning. Gives us to check in with Dana Larson on a Chevy game break. Thanks, Dana. Matt, they've had some real awakening lately. 2 games under 500 coming into play today. There's been a lot of heat in New York these last couple of days. And a strike poured in there to Carlos Beltran. Take a look at the National League West standings. Boy, the Giants, they've been a disaster since the All-Star break, but holding on to a half-game lead over the Dodgers. One and one to Carlos Beltran, who walked back in the first. Carlos, 39 years old now. Rangers are acquiring him in the final hour of the trade deadline. He's in a hole 1 and 2. Beltran, who, speaking of the Giants several years ago, really helped them. He was a huge addition for San Francisco down the stretch, getting them to another World Series, one of their 3 in the last 5 years. This one lifted high in the air, right field. Souza coming on from right. Matuk from center, and he'll make the catch. The throw to the plate, a good one, and Andrews has to hold third base. Matuk, well, he put himself in a good position to make that throw, and he's a guy whose pride was a little bruised last night. He got burned on a play by Elvis Andrus, and had to address that last night with the media. And his manager was still a little fired up this afternoon about the way their club played last night. And Elvis with one of those great heads-up base running moves last night, just stole a run on Matuk. Still at third, Profar at first, and it's going to be up to Adrian Beltre. Beltre struck out in the first inning. But 4 hits last night, including 2 home runs. It was the 30th time in Beltre's career that he had produced a multi-homer game. Moved him up the all-time charts as well in home runs. He's now tied with former Ranger Juan Gonzalez and Andruw Jones, 45th all-time. 2-1 the count. Take a look at the Ford leaderboard. Next on the list, Miguel Cabrera. The next home run by Beltre would put him on even footing with me. And then there's the Hawk Andre Dawson, not that far ahead as well. Some pretty good company for the Rangers' third sack. Talking about it earlier. Last night, a night that got your attention, but he has been on one heck of a stretch lately. 5 home runs in his last 11 games. With one big swing here, he could change this game in a hurry. The 2-2. The bouncer slowly toward third. Longoria on top of it. Goes to short way. The inning is over. Rangers leave a couple more. We'll go to the bottom of the third inning. It is 2-0 Tampa Bay.
The third inning. It's a remade or at least reinforced Rangers team 3 weeks ago at the trade deadline. Lots of new pieces. I asked Ian Desmond if he was surprised how well they've fit in.
No, not at all, because I kind of saw it firsthand. My experience, in spring training and early on in the season. The core group of guys here do a great job of welcoming people in, and that all starts with Adrian. I think his experience, in the league and in so many different clubhouses with so many different guys. I think he's really just got a knack for, just being welcoming, and I think everyone else feeds off that.
How appropriate that he makes such a spectacular play, even as we're talking about what a great guy he is in the clubhouse. Obviously a guy who gets it done on the field and off, guys.
Thanks, John. Indeed, a really nice play to take care of Dickerson to start the third.
Yeah, a little cue shot, and normally, especially on natural grass, that ball's a base hit 90% of the time. But with Adrian on turf, where he can come in and barehanded, get a strong throw off from down under, no problem.
One away for Evan Longoria. Well, comebacker, and that one gets past Griffin, but Odor positioned well behind the bag at second to make the play. And there are two away. We talk a lot about Adrian. Other broadcasters come in, they want to know a lot about Beltre as well. But in your career, Buzz, anybody that kind of comes to mind when you think about comparing a guy like Adrian Beltre to your era?
You mean on other teams or in general?
On your team, the guys you played with who were...
Well, I think guys on the clubs that I was on was Hal McRae. Same kind of personality. He was kind of the de facto leader, and yet he was a quiet guy for all intents and purposes. Always all business on the field, very much a fiery competitor. But in the clubhouse, he was the guy that everybody turned to, and everybody looked to for guidance, basically. And Mac was just same kind of guy that Adrian is. He was always the one standing over in the corner, sticking in a knife in somebody's back to get a fight going in there. He would never be involved in it directly. He'd be the one behind the scenes taking care of it. Adrian needles people from time to time, gets things going.
Yeah.
That's good. You need that. You need that little inspiration from time to time.
Yeah, sometimes they don't have to say anything.
No.
Sometimes just, I don't know, it's almost like wanting their approval or not wanting their disapproval, as the case may be. 2-2, the count to Miller.
Well, and if there's work to be done, you know where to look for it, because they're going to be out there in the middle of it. They always show up to work, and they always show up to play. That's the important part.
Now a full count here to Miller, who struck out in the first. Yesterday, Miller had an infield hit. He was 1 for 3 with a walk. And hits this one well out to left field. Profar going back, though, and able to track it down to complete a 1-2-3 inning for A.J. Griffin. Rays still lead 2-0 after 3. Now let's go to Aaron Hardigan in our Rooms to Go lounge.
Southwest, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9, meticulously crafted for driving because driving matters. Sunshine Skyway, as shot by Fox Sports Southwest traveling drone. And it pull out all the stops for these big road trips. 2-0 Rays. Rougned Odor leading off the 4th inning for the Rangers. So far, not a whole lot doing against Odorizzi. Rangers had a couple of runners on in the first, a couple more in the third, but unable to break through against the Rays right-hander. Odor popped out his first time up in the first inning. The count now 1-2. We will wrap up this series tomorrow afternoon. Rangers then will enjoy an off day on Monday in Cincinnati before just a quick 2-game series in the Queen City Tuesday and Wednesday. And today, Jeff Bannister revealing that Tuesday's start will more than likely be handled by Derek Holland. It's not official, and they still want to see how Holland reacts tonight, tomorrow morning from the bullpen session today. Odor hits one hard out to left field, carrying well, and it is out of here. Odor over the fence in left field, solo shot, and makes it a 2-1 ball game. His 23rd home run this year.
Now, the long ball has been the only way to get to Odorizzi, and most of them have been solo shots. And Rougned Odor going the other way, not trying to pull him, and that's critical against a guy like Odorizzi. Rougned going out there, target set inside, ball never got there. It tailed back through the middle of the plate to the outside part of the plate. And Rougned showing you the kind of power that he has going the opposite way. That's Rougned's first home run in a while. Been almost a month for Odor.
So now Jonathan Lucroy, and it's 1-1.
And I point out too, Dave, again, the dimensions of this park coming into play. That ball hit about 370 feet or so to straightaway left field, even toward left center a little bit, and that got into the second row of seats. Not a home run in a lot of ballparks.
Good enough for a run tonight, and cuts that Rays lead in half. Lucroy grounded out in the second inning, and a hole here, 1-2. Lucroy was 1 for 5 last night and has been terrifically productive since joining the Rangers. Really, I mean, if you take his time with the Brewers, you can go back after maybe a slow start for him. He got hot well before the trade deadline, and then rode that now through the deadline, and has been a huge addition in this stretch run for the Rangers. We're inside 40 games to play in the regular season. 1-2 from Odorizzi. Rangers have the 7-game lead in the division, and a huge homestand coming up. We talk about Cleveland, Seattle, and Houston in town beginning on the 25th. It's next Thursday. 2-2. Mike Napoli having a huge month with the Indians, and he'll be a big part of that team right now. They're playing the best baseball in the American League for a very long stretch. Lucroy popped it up right side of the infield. Beckham, the second baseman, calling for it, and that is out number 1.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. 3 or 4 with Cleveland, then 3 with Seattle. That's going to be a great series. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and really encourage folks to grab some tickets while they're available. Bring your red out to the ballpark and support your Rangers as they take on their nearest pursuer in the American League West. And then, of course, Houston coming in the next weekend, and that'll be a big series.
You know, Seattle games, night games, Monday and Tuesday, and then the final day of August, that Wednesday, is a 1:05 start at Globe Life Park. Big series against the Mariners. So Mitch Moreland. This one sharply down the first baseline. Fair ball. Miller underhanding to Odorizzi. And they take care of Moreland for out number 2.
You know, Miller, the converted middle infielder playing at first base, and he was able to give Odorizzi a pretty good feed. I think in general, Miller will find out that you're better off taking that to the bag if you think you can make it. First baseman always should run the pitcher off, not having to make that throw, if at all possible.
First pitch to Mazara. Bouncer to the left side of the second base bag, but Duffy right there for it. And it completes the inning. But the Rangers get on the board. Rougned Odor opening the inning with this solo shot. And it's a 2-1 game in the 4th. Baseball tonight brought to you by T-Mobile. Big series between the Marlins and the Pirates in Pittsburgh. You see the Pirates been playing outstanding baseball. Best record in the bigs. Only 2 games back of St. Louis in the National League wild card race. Here it's 2-1 Rays. We begin at the bottom of the 4th. Marlins are a half game back of the Pirates in that wild card chase. So a big series there. And then saw the note, Felix Hernandez. The Mariners, they're up against the Brewers at home tonight, and Felix has been great in interleague play. Mariners 7 back of the Rangers in the West. Griffin's 2-1. And Matt Duffy lifts it high in the air, shallow center, drops in, base hit. And Duffy 2 for 2 tonight.
The Rangers can't get Duffy to hit the ball in the good part of the bat. He's gotten jammed twice, and he's gotten 2 base hits.
And they have the lead man on for Logan Morrison. Now the Rays got a run in the first. It was a Longoria RBI single, and then Luke Maile with his first big league homer in the second inning. 2 runs on 5 hits so far tonight for the Rays. A.J. Griffin. 1 strikeout so far tonight. No walks. 28 years old. And Tommy John surgery in April of 2014. Back when he was with the Oakland A's and still a very promising pitcher in the A's organization. He just come off a 14-win season in 2013. He missed all of the 14 season recovering from Tommy John. And trying to come back in 2015, re-injured himself on the comeback trail as he falls behind Morrison 2-0. Go on the disabled list in June of 2015 with a right shoulder strain. And the Rangers brought him to spring training this year, made the club at the rotation, did a great job, but tweaked his shoulder in May, has worked his way back, and now really holding down a very important spot of the rotation for a team with the best record in the American League. Normally, Griffin a very quick worker. Working with a man at first, nobody out is 2-1. That's foul tip. Evens the count at 2-2 on Morrison, who popped out in the first. Average of 228 for Morrison coming into play tonight.
About time for the Rangers to turn over a double play. They haven't had one this evening.
They're the best in the business at doing just that. Griffin will keep Duffy perhaps just a half step closer with that in mind. 143 double plays turned this year by the Rangers. That's 22 more than the next closest team in baseball. A quick toss.
Just so folks know what we're talking about, that's ground ball double plays. Overall, 159 double plays, which is a number we quote from time to time. They hadn't gotten demoted. They didn't get any taken off.
Duffy with his lead. And the pitch to Morrison, foul away. Well, the 143 ground ball double plays, that already matches last year's season-long total. And it's the 5th highest in franchise history with a ways to go yet. The most in franchise history, that was set in 2008. That Rangers club turned 160 double plays on the ground. 2-2. And it's a full count now on Morrison. I told you about that big series in Pittsburgh. They're in the bottom of the first, so underway tonight at PNC Park. Marlins and Pirates scoreless so far in that one. 3-2 pitch, runner is going. There's a swing and a miss. It'll go down to second, and they'll get Duffy there for a double play. Not your ground ball double play, but a strike him out, throw him out.
It works, right?
Absolutely.
You get 2 outs on 1 pitch. Yeah, Matthew Lucroy, or Jonathan Lucroy, I mean, again, throwing out an opposing base runner. And he has done that now better than 30 times this year, 31 times.
Wasn't even close. I mean, Duffy out by a mile at second base. 2 gone, bases empty for Tim Beckham. Griffin comes right at him with strike 1. Last night, one of the games we were watching over the course of the night was out in Baltimore. It was just a ridiculous slugfest between the Astros and the Orioles. They're at it again tonight. And the Astros with 2 runs in the top of the first already against Chris Tillman. One. Another big bender. And Beckham got a hold of the ball on 2 strikes. Beckham last year was a rookie, used all over the diamond by the Rays. Shortstop, second base, third, DH'd a little bit. Middle infielder by trade, a very highly considered high school athlete. He was the first pick overall in 2008. A 1-2. Griffin makes sense as a weakness. And Beckham with that curveball. Down to it a couple of times here. AJ trying to get a shutdown inning after the Rangers scored their first run of the night in the top of the fourth. And a fastball in there, strike three called. He gets Beckham looking. Inning over. He does get that shutdown inning, and it takes us to the fifth. So Griffin maybe finding his groove. It's a 2-1 Rays lead.
This part of the country, and you're so near the water, you've got to eat some seafood, don't you? Yesterday we went to Ted Peters Smoked Fish House. I was looking for the best grouper sandwich in St. Petersburg today. We went during a rainstorm, the annual or daily afternoon rainstorm, and I can attest those thatched roofs really do protect you when it's raining. That thatched roof worked beautifully today and kept us out of the rain as Elvis comes to the plate. Still looking for that great grouper sandwich, and you got to figure something could be caught in that water right off one of those boats and brought right to this restaurant, and you get yourself a grouper sandwich. Here it is. Look at this grouper sandwich. I mean, freshness is the key on the grouper. That's the blackened grouper sandwich. So pretty much everything is great about this day. There was only one disappointment that we had in our quest for the grouper sandwich today. It was the fact that we went to a place called I See Sharks, and I didn't. You know, like, this is why I chose this place. I See Sharks. I wanted to see a shark. I didn't see it. I love Shark Week. I've swum with sharks in Australia. I didn't see a shark. So that was the only disappointment. Grouper sandwich was great. Dave, hats off to you for taking the advice on Ted Peters and having some smoked fish for lunch today.
Yeah, I will say, and it was a great suggestion. Your restaurant tips have been pretty awesome this summer. Andrus fights that one off. It's a full count. Ted Peters knows how to smoke those famous fish here in town. It was outstanding. Sorry you didn't see any sharks, though, John. Andrus doubled in the third. And Odorizzi's payoff pitch to him. This one sent out to center field. Aho is back and makes the play. A little better night tonight for Montauk out there in center. He had a tough one last night. Kevin Kiermaier came out of the game for precautionary reasons yesterday. Their superstar defensive center fielder Montuk had to take over for him, and there's really not a player on the planet who's going to take over for Kiermaier and not be noticed in center. Kiermaier is the standard setter out there. There's Profar, who's 1 for 2. Jurickson flied out of the first, singled to right field in the 3rd inning. Continuing to be penciled in at the top of the order. Got on a couple of times yesterday. Came in with the on base average tonight at .324, so that goes up a tick. His job, get on, set the table. Now, Odorizzi, we were told beforehand he likes that fastball up. See if he'll get guys to chase it. So far tonight, 3 strikeouts. And there's another one that's up high, and he's been all up to Profar. Last night that was the approach of Andriese as well, but eventually the Rangers kind of forced him down a little bit in the middle innings and started him knocking him around a touch. Going a little closer in the zone, and it's a full count. Rangers' 1 run came on the Rougned Odor homer in the 4th. 1 run on 4 hits tonight. Profar doing a good job of fighting off a couple up there, but Odorizzi showing no indication that he's going to come down any, although he does right there. And it stays 3-2. Profar likes it. The upper parts of the zone. That's where he's done a lot of damage this summer. Most of these pitches, though, from Odorizzi have been just a little bit above. Stays 3-2. Odorizzi, 26 years old. And he made it to the big leagues in 2012 with the Kansas City Royals. It's now his 4th season with the Rays. 9th pitch of the at-bat to Profar, and there will be a 10th. One criticism of Odorizzi this year has been that there really is, he has a tendency to get a couple of these at-bats a game where he doesn't have a real put-away pitch. And so the at-bats continue. This one will go to an 11th pitch. Where he doesn't seem to have that, whatever it is. Although lately part of the strength for him has been the splitter.
I think his reluctance to throw it to Jurickson Profar has maybe saved that from being a put-away pitch. Typically, the leadoff man, you're not going to do that to. He had a 3-1 count, so that pretty much excludes your split-finger pitch.
We got him swinging eventually on the 11th pitch of the at-bat.
You get a guy in swing mode around the plate that much, and Jurickson will expand his strike zone as he did here. He was trying to lay off that high pitch earlier in the count, and you can see all the pitches up there. He had plenty of opportunity to discipline himself that way, but finally just expanded it a little bit too much.
So I had to work for that one, but Odorizzi takes care of Profar. First offering to Desmond, shanked for a long strike. And that's been another part of the storyline for Odorizzi. I mean, he has logged a lot of pitches per inning. Before the All-Star break, that number was well north of 18 pitches per inning. This one popped up back of first. Miller will give way to Souza coming in from right field. It is a 1-2-3 inning for Odorizzi. We're halfway there tonight with the Rays leading 2-1. August 27th, presented by Budweiser. Come take in the Cleveland Indians and Texas Rangers in a 7:05 game, and then enjoy the concert afterward. For tickets or to get your field passes for the concert, go to texasrangers.com/concerts. As Souza wears one and takes first base to start the bottom of the fifth. Now AJ puts the lead man on in this fifth inning. Not want to do that.
Number 46, Luke Bailey.
And nobody likes to get hit like that. Souza reacting rather angrily, and you can understand why. That pitch up, you got a real good look at it coming in before it got his shoulder. That'll scare you a little bit.
Both these teams snuggle up that plate just a little bit. You can see. Now Maile off his first career big league home run in the second inning. Solo shot with 2 out in the inning. And it's 1-1. That one made it 2-0 Tampa. Rangers came back though with an Odor homer in the fourth. And Griffin misses with ball 2. Last year Maile, when he came up late, he was used primarily as a catcher from Matt Moore. No longer with the Rays, traded at the deadline. Go back and take a look at the home run that Maile hit in the second inning.
Like AJ threw that, he was trying to throw the cutter away to him and never got away. Stayed right in the middle of the plate.
Souza at first, and a breaking ball swung on and lifted out to right field. Mazzaro with plenty of room, however, and there's one away in the fifth. Time for us to check it again with Dana Larson on a Chevy Game Break. All right, thanks. Dana Bregman has kind of turned things on after a very slow start with the Astros. He has found his groove lately. Sits safely in 13 of his last 14 games. Runner going, the throw down to second. And they might take another look at this one. Well, looked like they might have well gotten Souza. Called safe for the moment. And Jeff Bannister is already asking for them to review it.
Gary Cederson was going to get Matuk for interference, but that's going to be overturned. That was pretty much a clear out. The tag is on the leg before that foot ever comes close to the bag.
And this one should not take real long. And Cederstrom and company over on the oversized headsets. Our replay challenge brought to you by Ford. Call was safe at second for Souza. Would be his 7th stolen base of the year, but pretty much no doubt that that will be overturned. And yeah, looks like that's a very quick decision there. Indeed. Gunned down for the 2nd out of the inning.
Jonathan Lucroy, his 2nd caught stealing of the night, 32 for the year. Lucroy teeing him up, shooting him down.
Making it look easy. Kevin Cash struggled watching his club lately. Of course, they had a stretch earlier this year that was really ugly when they won 3 and lost 24. In one of the uglier months of baseball you'll ever see. 2 away, nobody on. 1-1 to Mata, who has twice popped up today. And now down at the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
Mikey Matuk sounds like a guy out of The Sopranos or something. Doesn't he?
It does. It absolutely does. Another breaky ball from Griffin. Matuk, we mentioned last night, 6 times he was up and down with the Rangers last year, or rather with the Rays last season. This year struggling to a 147 average coming into play tonight. A.J. Griffin, meanwhile, trying to keep this a 2-1 game and move it to the 6th inning. Payoff pitch, and that's foul. Matuk, in the brief time in the big leagues, certainly last year, primarily used against left-handed pitching. This year getting a look at righties, and that look will be one that he won't relish. Goes down looking. 5th strikeout of the night for A.J. Griffin, sends us to the 6th in a 1-run game.
Inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot $100 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Joe Hines of Fort Worth will win $100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, well, Joe will win $25,000. You can register yourself at any participating Sonic restaurant. Good luck, Joe, as we begin play in the 6th inning. Carlos Beltran and then Adrian Beltre and Rougned Odor in the 6th, a one-run game. Beltran 0 for 1 with a walk so far tonight.
It'll be interesting to see what the Rangers can do this 3rd time through the order now for Odorizzi. See if they can make the adjustments to either get him down with the fastball into the strike zone or get that split finger pitch up a little bit where they can handle it. When you start expanding the zone both ways against this guy is when you have no success.
Rangers with 4 hits in the first 5 innings against Odorizzi. Beltran hits this one high in the air to relatively deep center, but Matuk to his right, able to make the play. Adrian Beltre last night, we mentioned 2 home runs. One of them, yeah, with a Sonic slam inning. But that's how we led off the 6th last night. This was how we led off the 7th. A 4-hit night, 2 home runs. On what was a very emotional night for Adrian Beltre. Odorizzi tonight has retired him in the 2 times he's come to the plate. One of the things Odorizzi did well last year, at least early in the season, he ended up with a 9-9 record last year and a 3.35 ERA. He did not allow a home run until his 7th start of the year in May. The guy who hit that home run off of him, it was the game May 10th against the Rangers. Well, it was Adrian Beltre. We talked about it last night. Beltre has had success against the Rays in general, and in this ballpark he is hit for great power. Hits this one sharply back to Odorizzi, who will scramble after it and have no play. Then the next question is, on that Rays dugout, is he okay? That ball hit hard. Infield hit for Adrian Beltre.
Now, one hopper off this turf, it does not slow down much when it hits that turf. And they're going to take a look at Odorizzi. He didn't have a whole lot of time to react. It looked like he got glove on it, but I'm not sure how much glove it. His leg slowed it down as much as the glove did. About 56 feet you have to work with, and the ball hits the bat where you are, right outside of the right knee. I'll give you an idea. This is real speed. Not a whole lot of time that ball coming back to you. Figure it's going in about 90 or so and coming back at least that fast.
Gary Cederstrom is sharing a smile and a laugh with Odorizzi. He'll get a couple of tosses, make sure he indeed is okay. They have had some activity out there. Cedeno's been loosening up for a little bit now, so they have the left-hander available when needed. But Odorizzi says he's okay. And they'll leave the right-hander in there to face the left-handed Rougned Odor.
And the one thing we're going to keep an eye on now with Odorizzi, even though he's going to stay in the ball game and he's okay, is that ball got him on the right leg, which is the balance leg. And if you get any kind of soreness in that knee to where you're not able to balance the same way, you're going to have problems consistency-wise throwing the ball in the strike zone.
Odor goes down after one, lifts it into right field. Souza is there to make the play. And that is out number 2. Odor, when he homered last inning of the 4th, gave him 23 home runs for the year. That's a major league record for a second baseman in his age 22 season or younger.
It's one of those things we tend to forget sometimes. It's just how young Rougned Odor is. We talk so much about guys like Nomar Mazar or even Jurickson Profar, but Odor still so young, and yet now so experienced and established at the big league level. This year putting together a career offensive season. Beltre at first, 2 away for Jonathan Lucroy. Today Lucroy 0 for 2. He was having a pretty good year, hitting .299 in the National League with the Brewers. He'd been right in the middle of the rumor mill for better than a year. Last year at the trade deadline, he was a hot topic. Then at the winter meetings, snapped though down to first, and Beltre back in there. And finally this year at the trade deadline, Jonathan Lucroy moved by Milwaukee as they continue their rebuild in the National League. He's thrown out 2 base runners tonight from behind the plate. Trying to contribute at the plate, and it is 2-2. Odorizzi from Highland, Illinois. He was some kind of outstanding athlete, three-sport athlete at Highland High School. Lucroy fights him off. Odorizzi, basketball, football. He's a wide receiver and a safety on his football team. Of course, a great baseball player. His senior year of high school, 14-0, had an ERA of 0.1. Just 1 earned run in 89 2/3 innings pitched. That senior year, he struck out 146 and walked 6. That's a full count now on Lucroy. Doesn't look like there's a lot of safe spots there for an opposing pitcher. Just put it perfectly on the outside corner, high or low, or up and in perfectly, and you're okay. Looks like they've been shooting for that side edge and up. But this one toward the middle of the plate and driven out to the alley in right field, off the glove of Souza. And Matuk there to back it up nicely. Beltre coming for the plate anyway. The tag, not in time. Beltre safe at the plate, and this one is tied up at 2.
Beltre running on that pitch, and that's the only reason that Spike Owen was able to send Adrian. And he was hightailing it around third as fast as he could possibly go, and it still was a bang-bang play. Rays were fortunate that ball carried off of Souza right to Matuk. And then Beckham able to make the strong throw with Beltre in just underneath the tag. But we're going to have a second look at that because Kevin Cash has asked for that play to be reviewed. And I think you're going to overturn it.
That replay look does not appear to be favorable for the Rangers.
No.
And the fans here getting a look on the big board. The throw from Beckham was a bit high, but Maile had time to grab it and bring it down. Oh, the Rays already running off the field. They're not even waiting for the decision, and there it is. Cedarstrom indeed calling Beltre out. That will end the inning and take a run off the board. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Tampa Bay leading the Rangers 2-1. A one-run game as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Rays coming up in this 6th against A.J. Griffin. Rangers moments ago, as if they had tied the game.
The ball going over Sousa, and the Rays really got incredibly lucky. The ball bounding off of Sousa's glove right to Matuk, and then the relay perfectly executed by Tim Beckham. But that's a play that you have to send him. You've got to run. You've got to try with 2 outs to score Beltre. He was running on the pitch, and had that ball not carry him perfectly off of Sousa's glove to Matuk, it would have been no problem for Beltre to score.
So instead, that play ended the inning. A 9-6-2 put out at the plate, and the 1-1. Dickerson shoots it foul out of play. Pardon me, a 9-8-4-2 put out. Sousa and Matuk both involved out there in right field. Dickerson with a double and a run scored back in the 1st. Grounded out in the 3rd. And chops out one foul again. Dickerson just 26 years old from Mississippi. Has some activity out there in the Rangers pen. So Jeff Bannister prepared for anything. Keller and Claudio, the right left side. Bouncer, shortstop. Backing up for Andrus, and it's over to first in time, 1 away. Fox Sports Southwest and 105.3 The Fan present $10 tickets in the Lexus Club Terrace and upper level seating sections for August 29th through the 31st. That's that big Monday through Wednesday series against the Seattle Mariners. Pack the park, wear your red. Rangers Mariners defending first place in the AL West. Let's show them there in Texas. Tickets available TexasRangers.com. Use the online coupon code REDOUT. Evan Longoria stands in and takes ball 1. Longoria 1 for 2. Griffin with the pitch count very much in his favor so far tonight. He's done a good job of limiting the extra work. Trails by a run, however. And puts it right to the outside corner. 1-2 to Longoria. Quick 3rd inning. That was that 1-2-3. 3rd for Griffin. Got a big shutdown inning in the 4th. Helped out by some caught stealings tonight. His catcher Jonathan Lucroy has really given him a huge assist or 2 tonight. Lucroy gets a hold of this one though and launches it to left field. Only question is how far. It is gone. Longoria is 28. Makes it 3-1 Rays.
Well, I know it's a solo home run, but in a close ball game, you can't allow Longoria to have a pitch to get out of the ballpark. I know that wasn't what was in AJ's mind, but you can't try to go to an area where if you make a mistake, he can get it out of the ballpark. This is supposed to be down and away, and that pitch has to either be on the corner, exactly on the corner, or off the plate outside. You cannot miss in the middle of the plate. If you're ahead 5-0 or something like that, fine. But a 1-run game, all of a sudden it's a 2-run game, and it looks like you're going to have trouble scoring anyway. That pitch can't be there.
So now Brad Miller. And he's ahead 2-0 in the count. We saw it a moment ago, the activity in the Rangers bullpen, and the work out there may intensify just a touch. Miller pops this one up. Playable very shallow center for Desmond, and there are 2 out. Griffin lives and dies by the fly ball, and that is the one dangerous Achilles heel of a fly ball pitcher, of course, is the home run ball, and that has been an issue for him this year. He's allowed 2 tonight. 19 home runs against Griffin this year, and right at 90 innings pitched. Matt Duffy, who's 2 for 2 tonight. Griffin on both occasions looked like he made the pitch he wanted to Duffy, but Duffy has managed to find some real estate and work his way to first base anyway. It was a deadline acquisition for the Rays, and he has his 3rd hit of the night. That one threw into left field. And there's Jeff Bannister. Likely has seen enough. That's been the trend right about this point of the ball game, where Griffin just bogs down a little bit, and indeed Jeff Bannister has made that signal to the bullpen. So Griffin Dunn will leave trailing by 2, but responsible for Duffy. Pitching change break. We'll be back in a moment. Center Arlington on Sunday, September 4th for the 5th annual Rangers Labor Day race. Enjoy a scenic 5K course that finishes on the field, or bring the whole family for a 1K fun run. Go to texasrangers.com/race to sign up. Alex Claudio now on here in the 6th inning for the Rangers. Logan Morrison, the batter, and he takes ball 1.
This is Alex's first outing since he worked 4 innings in relief against Oakland and shut him out the other night. Gave up just 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So Claudio, his 26th appearance overall. That ERA now down to 2.41, with the league hitting 2.77 against him.
Fires one in. It's 1-1 on Morrison, who has struck out tonight and also popped up in foul ground down to third base. Matt Duffy as it is at first. Longoria with a home run this inning has added a big insurance run for the Rays. Well, news before the ball game today. Texas Rangers with the announcement that they signed outfielder Carlos Gomez to a minor league deal. He's been assigned to AAA Round Rock. 1-2 to count on Morrison. Carlos Gomez, who had been with the Houston Astros, designated for assignment couple of days ago, then released by the Astros 2 days ago. He was hitting just .210 with Houston, 5 home runs. Not a two-time All-Star with Milwaukee, Gold Glove as well. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3, and Claudio strikes out Morrison to end the inning. We go to the 7th, 3-1 Rays. It goes back to the first inning. Evan Longoria with the man at second, 1 out, and that flare got Dickerson home and got the Rays on the board. Second inning, the 2 out, Luke Maile with his first big league home run, and it was a shot. 2-0 Rays, but Rougned Odor, his career best 23rd home run of the season. That came in the 4th inning, a minute, a 1-run game. Just moments ago, Evan Longoria put that one in orbit for a big insurance run for the Rays. They lead 3-1 as we go to the 7th inning tonight. Bottom third of the order due for the Rangers. And Xavier Cedeno on in relief for Tampa Bay. Mitch Moreland leading it off and fooled on that first pitch. So a couple of lefties for the left-hander Cedeno. Moreland and then Nomar Mazar. And another break ball. It's 0-2.
Cedeno very much a good left-handed matchup guy. A 49th appearance of this year for the Rays. Last year he was in 61 ball games in Tampa. He went 4-1 last year. He's 3-4 this year. That ERA a little bit higher at 4.17, but the league hitting just 236 against Cedeno.
Lefty's 0-2. And Moreland, a good job to keep the at-bat going. He did not look very comfortable on the first 2 pitches he saw from Cedeno. See, Ramirez just activated today out there with the bullpen for the Rays. Rays with just 50 wins, 70 losses. So the lead in the 7th. And they're prepared to use anybody and everybody. Taking a look at teams that use the defensive shifts. The Astros far and away the leaders there, but Tampa Bay not too far behind, 4th most in Major League Baseball as you look at that defensive alignment against Mitch Moreland. And Moreland was trying to take that one the other way. And in fairness, we see pretty much every team use that kind of a shift against Mitch, who tonight 0 for 2. Cedeno, 29 years old, and is 1-2. Moreland making him work. Mitch with 10 home runs in the second half. And that's most on this Rangers club. He's been swinging the bat with some authority in the second half. Had 11 home runs before the break. But a tough bat right here against Cedeno, who gets him swinging for the first out of the 7th inning.
Well, Mitch adjusted to the pitch pretty well away, but Cedeno able to pop that ball up a little bit, and Mitch not able to check his swing, going after that high fastball.
So Cedeno gets the one lefty. Now we'll look at Nomar Mazara. Strikeout and a ground out tonight for Nomar. Cedeno came up with the Astros in 2011. Spent parts of 3 seasons with the Astros, then parts of 3 years with the Washington Nationals. For last year, becoming a Tampa Bay Ray. It's 1-0. Mazara already looking just a little more comfortable. Maybe picks up the ball just a little bit better than Moreland did. Keone Kela continues to work out of the pen. Rangers' only run came in the 4th, the home run by Odor. Mazara with a good swing, lifts this one out into left field. Dickerson, though, just a step or 2 to his left. And there are 2 away. Cedeno gets it 2 lefties. Now Andrus, the right-handed hitter, coming to the plate. No indication from that Tampa Bay bench that any move will be necessary.
Well, they're going to let him pitch to Elvis. If somebody gotten on base, they would have made the move here, but they'll let him pitch to Elvis. If Elvis gets on, which it looks like he's going to, he can just beat the throw.
He's going to end up with 2 bases on this one. A bunt single, second base on the error. And so Andrus gets out there at a scoring position on a very well executed bunt single to the first base side.
They made the first baseman fielder. That's in defensive foot race. And Cedeno knew that he had to get over there very quickly and stop at the bag to receive that throw. Miller threw it behind him a little bit. That's where the pitcher has to get to the bag and be able to stop and set up like a first baseman. Cedeno just couldn't get there quickly enough to do that. A good job by Elvis. Be a base hit, an error on the first baseman to allow a runner to go to second.
And it turns the lineup over. Profar gets back up there.
But what Kevin Cash is doing by allowing Cedeno to pitch to Elvis is this situation. They wanted to keep Profar batting from the right side. Didn't want to turn him around and let him hit left-handed, which is his better side.
Ball 1 from Cedeno. Profar 1 for 3 so far tonight. Yeah, there you go. The splits for Profar. Very unfavorable against left-handed pitching. And it's 1-1.
It's been better of late, Dave. He started showing signs about 3 weeks ago of starting to swing the bat better left-handed, or better from the right side against left-handers. He'd started to see more of them, for one thing. But I think, like most switch hitters, one side gets neglected when you're hitting from the, in his case, the left side so often.
Profar has never faced Cedeno before. Points this one off for strike 2. Feels like it was just a couple years ago. A lot of conversation about maybe the possible extinction of the switch hitter. It's so much more difficult to do, so much more specialization out of bullpens. Does it really make sense for guys to spend the time to become switch hitters?
Well, I think with the specialization out of the bullpen, you'd be encouraged to switch hit more. That way you wouldn't get pinch hit for it.
1-2. Yeah,
A quality switch hitter makes it almost impossible for a manager to have a strategy to overcome that. And if you're a solid switch hitter from both sides of the plate, there is no reliever that you dread facing.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem, though, right? Is there so few of them anymore who really are that good from both sides. The 1-2. It just takes so much work for a guy to continue to be good or good enough at both sides of the plate. Now there's one right there. And one whale of a career. Beltran now 39 years old. But still as dangerous a hitter from either side of the plate as just about anybody in the game. 1-2. Runner going and no throw to third, so Andrus has that one uncontested.
Now Cedeno not paying any attention to Elvis. He realized that and went ahead and strolled into third. Now that brings the wild pitch, pass ball, infield error, any kind of way to score from third base. Get this back to a one-run game.
Profar putting up a pretty good fight up there. At the moment, this will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat. And he'll get another. Count stays 2-2. Had a double yesterday. Walked late in the ball game as well with the bases loaded. The base hit tonight. Take a look at the number of pitches that he's seen tonight, though. That's excellent work up there at the top of the order. Two from Cedeno. And it's a full count. And very nearly gave you that wild pitch you were just asking for a moment ago.
It puts a lot of pressure on the catcher back there with the guy at third in a close ball game. And you'll find it puts a lot of pressure on a pitcher too. Sometimes guys with good breaking balls will not want to throw it for fear of bouncing it, letting that run score without a hit.
So the left-hander, the first two men he faced out. Andrus reached on the single. He's at third. And another foul tip. And another deep count for Profar.
Just able to get enough of it to stay alive. And again, the more pitches you force a pitcher to throw in one at bat, the more the at bat can tilt toward the hitter. More chance there is for a mistake.
Cedeno has to dig in again. The payoff pitch. And this ball ripped down to third, but Longoria right there. And the inning is over. Andrus left at third. They'll stand and stretch tonight at the Trop. 3-1. Rangers leading. Pardon me, Rays. tomorrow, off day Monday in Cincinnati. Then just 2 quick ones against the Reds. But then that big homestand. Indians for 4. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 29th through 31st of August, Seattle Mariners. Closest combatants right now in the West Division, just 7 games back. First pitch to Tim Beckham. This one lined to the power alley right field. Beckham with good speed. Loses the helmet as he rounds second. The relay throw from Odor to third, not in time. So Beckham with a triple off Keone Kela to start the bottom of the 7th inning.
Rangers very fortunate because Keone Kela just stood on the mound, became a spectator. That ball gets by Adrian Beltre. Beckham scores without a throw into the gap, and that's one of the deeper parts of the ballpark out there. You mentioned Beckham with very good speed, and he was thinking 3 all the way. Ran right out from underneath his cover. And Adrian doing a great job here of keeping that ball near third base. Kela standing on the mound watching things happen. Forgot to back up.
Well, on here for the 22nd time this year. Claudio got the final out of the 6th inning. Goes with a breaking ball to Souza. Souza 0 for 1, was hit by the pitch in the 5th inning. A.J. Griffin 5 2/3 today. Gave up the 3 runs on 7 hits. Fouled off in the count, 1-1 on Souza. We're talking about that Seattle series coming up on that next homestand. Big 3-team homestand. Boxberger loosening up for the Rays. And for some reason that upcoming series kind of reminds me a little bit of last season. This one drilled out to the alley again in right field. Snagged by Desmond. Coming home Beckham, he'll score. RBI single by Souza. It's 4-1 Rays. Two hard hit balls off Keone Kela.
Yeah, Keone now has given up runs in 4 of his last 5 appearances, so he is struggling a bit coming into this ball game, and Souza got that pitch down and able to drive it to right center. Beckham able to ambush that first fastball he saw from Keone Kela, and Keone came back with a fastball to Souza that got smoked to right center field for the RBI.
So now try to come back against Maile, who's showing bunt. Drops it first base side. Moreland will go to second, but not in time. Everybody's safe.
You know, you would hope on this play that somebody is yelling at Mitch, first base, first base. Mitch came up and looked very briefly at second before he threw down there. And really had no chance to get Souza. The Rangers kind of having it unravel here in this 7th inning.
Well, meeting on the mound, just 5 pitches offered by Kela so far. Triple, single, and then the bunt by Maile. Four to 1 Rays. And at first and second, nobody out. Corners are in tight. Montour showing bunt as well.
That last play, by the way, scored a sacrifice for Maile and a fielder's choice to allow Souza to get to second.
Montour, a couple of pop-ups. Down looking in the 5th. Bunts it first base side, but foul. Now Nick Martinez now has picked up a baseball. Bottom of the 7th, a 3-run game. The silver lining right now for the Rangers has to be that Odorizzi is out of the game. Jake Odorizzi had the start for the Rays, went 6 very strong innings. Montook offered that strike 2, throw down to second, and just about got Souza. Lucroy's already caught 2 guys stealing. Souza's heart beating just a little bit. With 2 strikes, Haley showing again. Kela in some hot water in the 7th inning. And buries that one. It's a full count. Montook, very patient hitter.
No, you got to make sure here. They're trying to give you an out. You got to make sure and get one. Can't afford to walk him.
And the payoff. He does bunt it foul for strike 3. So Montook is the first out in the 7th inning. Boy, that is as big a gift as you can get.
I'm not sure I understand that. You're leading 4-1 and you're having your leadoff man try to bunt with 2 strikes. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but Rangers will take it.
2 strikes, nobody out in an inning, and playing small ball. So Kevin Cash, interesting call. Now Corey Dickerson. Dickerson had the double in the first, and he's grounded out twice. And he's up there swinging. Fly ball, shallow center. Desmond racing on, and there are 2 gone. So a foul bunt, strike 3, and the very next pitch lifted to center. And just like that, 2 away. Let's check in again with Dana Larson on the Chevy Game Break. Hey, thanks, Dana. Been a long season on the banks of the Ohio River. Those Cincinnati Reds, 52-69 coming into play tonight. The Rangers' next opponent is Kela to the plate, delivers low to Evan Longoria, ball 1. I was mentioning, though, that series with Seattle reminded me just a little bit of last season when the Astros came to Globe Life Park in mid-September for a 4-game series. Rangers were trailing by about a half game going into that series. Swept the Astros out of Globe Life for that 4 games. Ended up taking over the division lead and then winning the division. And not quite the same way, but it is the series at this point you circle on the calendar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 29th through 31st when Seattle comes to town. 3-0 to Longoria. Longoria 2 for 3, RBI single in the first, solo homer in the 6th.
You need to assume that he has a green light here if he chooses.
And a high strike call makes it 3-1. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Longoria with a .417 average. 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Second in the American League. He is a dangerous hitter. 3-1. Didn't miss by much. But Longoria heads to first. That loads him up. And here comes Doug Brocail. He just wants to make sure that Kela and Lucroy are square on the strategy against Brad Miller. A frustrating run this inning allowed by Kela, but you got to stop it right there. Rangers will have the 2, 3, and 4 batters coming up in the 8th. So, and Lord knows, we've seen it plenty of times all season, and especially the last couple of weeks. This team knows how to come back for some late runs. 39 come from behind wins, most in baseball. But you got to keep it close here. Miller 0 for 3. And he's hacking.
No, Miller was up there looking first pitch fastball after the walk to Longoria and didn't get it. He got the curveball, the big downer from Keone Kela. That can make a hitter look foolish sometimes.
Corey set to in, and the 1-strike pitch does come in, but too far. Miller, a guy who originally it was the Rangers who had their eyes on Brad Miller. They drafted him in 2008. Miller, though, declined a pro contract. Instead went to Clemson, where he became an All-American, College World Series. He won one, and he'll line this one out into right field, a base hit. Souza is in. Maile being waved. No relay throw offered. And Longoria. All 3 score. Bases clearing double by Miller. That's opened it up for the Rays. And that is it for Keone Kela. Jeff Bannister seen enough, and he'll go back to the bullpen. So a tough 7th inning for Keone Kela. New pitcher coming on for the Rangers. We'll be back in just a moment. Texas football returns, bringing you the most comprehensive coverage of Texas high school football around the state. Join us at 8 o'clock, Fox Sports Southwest Plus, or live stream on Fox Sports Go every Friday. Yeah, it sort of seems that way tonight. 7-1, Rays leading. And with Matt Duffy coming to the plate here in the 7th inning, it is Nick Martinez coming on for the Rangers.
Now, Nick, overall, this is his 8th appearance. He had 5 starts previously, and 1 and 3. The starts did not go well. A 7.18 ERA. Nick giving up a 3.24 opponent's batting average on here. Asked to put out this uprising by the Rays here in the 7th inning.
Brad Miller, the man at second. The first pitch to Duffy. Breaking ball for a strike. Duffy's had himself a night. 3 hits and 3 tries. He's been hampered a little bit lately with some soreness in his left Achilles. Got back in there yesterday. Today a big day at the plate. And is now 1-1 on Duffy. He was very well liked in San Francisco. And a nice addition for the Rays. They get Duffy, now a very promising young shortstop. They had to give up Matt Moore, who went out to San Francisco in the deal. And Lucroy and Martinez will be down on the same page. Right-hander gets Duffy to shoot one foul out of play for strike 2. So Martinez, a 4th pitcher of the night. A.J. Griffin, 5 2/3. Claudio faced just 1 hitter. He struck out Morrison to end the 6th inning. I think Keone Kela gave up the 4 runs so far. He's still responsible for Miller out there at second base. Faced a total of 7 hitters in the 7th inning. Martinez trying to put a tourniquet on this inning. There's 1-2 to the rookie Duffy. Little tight. Some activity for the Rangers as well. Desmond, Beltran, and Beltre due up in the 8th. Here's a 2-2 and a bouncer at third base. Beltre right there across the diamond, dug out nicely by Moreland to end the inning. But 4-run score for the Rays, and they stretch their lead to 7-1.
As we welcome you back to Tropicana Field here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we'll play one more game of this 3-game set. The late season time that these two teams have met up for the first time this year, but one more here and then another series at home. But it's Elvis Andrus and Brad Miller tomorrow. Brad with the 11 home runs since the All-Star break. Elvis hoping to stay hot here at Tropicana Field. AT&T high-speed internet reminds you that tomorrow's coverage starts in the morning, 11:30 for Rangers Live. First pitch just after noon as it's getaway day and we head to Cincinnati. Guys.
All right, thanks, John. Erasmo Ramirez has come on here in the 8th inning for the Rays. Goes right after Ian Desmond.
Now, Ramirez's 48th appearance of the year, 7-9, the record for Ramirez. An oft-used right-hander by the Rays at .269, the opponent's batting average against him. And that is his stock and trade right there, that good slider.
Ahead of Desmond 0-2. Of course, his 9 losses this year, most among relievers in the big leagues. And he has given up 12 home runs, which is a ton. Bouncer short. Duffy charges and gets Desmond by a step and a half, one away. So that'll bring up Carlos Beltran. Well, Ramirez in a very big spot here. His team now working with a 6-run lead. As this game changed dramatically there in the bottom of the 7th, but this is the biggest threat in terms of the Rangers' order here in these late innings. Beltran 0 for 2 with a walk. Beltran twice with fly balls to center field, looking for his first hit in this series. Yesterday was 0 for 5. And hits this one high in the air, shallow center or deep second, depending on how you look at it. Matuk is there, and there are 2 away. You know, you can follow Rangers baseball live with the MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Beltre 1 for 3 tonight. And involved in a pretty big play in the 6th inning. Looked like he might have scored to tie the game in the 6th inning. Instead, upon review, he was called out. That ended the inning. And then the Rays would come back, hit a home run in the bottom of that 6th inning to extend their lead to 3-1, and then tacked on 4 in the 7th. 1-0. And that'll even the score between Erasmo Ramirez and Adrian Beltre. Ramirez 25 years old. Stocky right-hander from Nicaragua. Fires in, strike 2. Came up with the Seattle Mariners 2012. Parts of 3 seasons with Seattle. Last year, his first year with the Rays. He's largely been a starter. But now, a bullpen guy. He's thrown a lot of innings this year. I guess a guy who has a starter arm can give you some innings out of the bullpen, and that has been the case. Approaching 67 innings for the season. That's most among American League relievers. Petromeli wants to reset the signs against Beltre. 1-2 the count. There's the pitch. Beltre will see another. Adrian off a big night yesterday. Swinging one of the hotter bats on this Rangers team, though today he hasn't put up quite the numbers. His hit tonight was an infield hit. He learned Thursday his grandfather passed away last night. A very emotional night for him. He still has not yet quite decided whether or not he'll take the 3-day bereavement leave. 2-2 the count. Today, Jeff Bannister addressing that question said, well, that is entirely up to Adrian Beltre, and he respects his decision to handle it however he needs to. Very much the heart and soul of this Rangers team. The 2-2. That ball ripped over third. Base hit down into the left field corner. Beltre heads to second, and he has a 2-out double in the 8th. And it's another multi-hit game for Adrian Beltre.
Well, he is something. It's amazing. This pitch off the plate inside. Not a bad pitch by Ramirez. And Adrian able to get that the head of the bat to it enough to drive it right down the left field line. Nice piece of hitting.
It's lifted for a pinch runner. Well, Beltre done for the night. He'll get a nice round of applause from a number of Rangers fans who once again have traveled well to support the club. Ryan Rua will take over out there at second base. Now Rougned Odor, he homered in the 4th. It's a big swing here, but pops it up in a shallow left field. In comes Dickerson, and he'll squeeze it, inning over. Rangers leave a man out there in the 8th. To the last of the 8th we go, down by 6. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. St. Petersburg, Florida on this Saturday night inside the Trop. 7-1 Rays lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. So Rangers fans still hoping for a little more to cheer about tonight. Nick Martinez, who got the final out of the 7th inning, out to start the 8th against Logan Morrison, who is hitless in 3 tries this evening. Set up away. Morrison couldn't stop himself. It's 1-1. Your new third baseman Adrian Beltre left the game for a pinch runner, so Profar moves from left field to third base. Ryan Rua, who came in to pinch run for Beltre, goes into left field. 1-1 for Martinez, just a little bit outside. Andrew Stubbs is now in center field. A couple of changes for the Rangers in these late innings. Trailing by 6. 2-2 to Morrison. Morrison, formerly with the Marlins and the Mariners. He'll pull this one foul. He was very close to his dad, a chief petty officer of the U.S. Coast Guard. His dad, a big athlete, and you look at Morrison, you can see, I mean, he's got some big athletic stock. His dad was a defensive end at the University of Kansas back in the 70s. And in the Big 8. He was battling lung cancer when Morrison was emerging in the big leagues. And he passed away after that 2010 season. There's a pop-up out into deep short for Andrews. He drifts way back there to make the play. We're out number 1. He got a new left fielder, new center fielder. Andrews just simply took charge out there. He went a long way out there.
Yeah, he did. That's what the conversation was about. He said, look, guys, I really don't want to come out this far, but if you're not going to call it, I've got to do it.
Yeah, you say the word.
Yeah.
Outfielders, you get it. You say it, I peel off. Beckham, and he lines this one over second, out into right center field, and that one will skip out to the fence. We saw his wheels earlier on a triple. He'll round second and try for third again. Odor's throw is late. Second triple tonight for Tim Beckham.
Well, again, he got a pitch up and out over the plate, went with it to right center. It was a breaking ball that stayed up there. And Beckham, who has shown problems with both the fastball and the slow breaking ball. Not many guys going to have trouble with a breaking ball in that location. That's pretty much on a tee for him.
Yeah, it's 5th for the year, 2nd tonight. And it seemed like he had it in mind a little earlier. Got rid of that helmet a little quicker this time. Infield all in tight. They're trying to cut him down at the plate. It's a 6-run Rays lead. Steven Souza Jr. 1 for 2, was hit by a pitch back in the 5th. And he gets time granted by plate umpire Gary Cederstrom. The difference in this game, the big moment of this game was that bottom of the 7th. A little bit in, 1-1 on Souza. 4-run 7th inning for the Rays. Before this man, Nick Martinez came on to get the final out. And now pitching in the 8th. 4th Rangers pitcher tonight is 1-1. And this one off the handle, looped over first, drops in, base hit. Beckham scores easily. Souza tries for 2, and he's in there. RBI double for Souza, his 2nd RBI of the night, and it makes it 8-1 Tampa Bay.
Well, that's that snowball starting to roll downhill. Pretty tough to stop. And not a bad pitch by Nick. He jammed Souza. And the ball right off the fist, but found daylight out there in shallow right field. Souza's got good speed. Well, he turned it on. He smelled extra bases. Not much that Mazzara could do about it.
So now he's in scoring position. And Maile, who's already had a memorable night. One more at bat here in the 8th inning. Takes ball 1 from Martinez. And his first big league homer. That was back in the 2nd inning. Made it at the moment a 2-0 Rays lead. Martinez aiming for that corner again. This time gets a call. Maile just a .213 average coming into tonight. Also laid down a sacrifice bunt in an unusual inning. That was part of that 4-run 7th inning. Which the Rays were intent on bunting runners up. The 1-2. Broken bat roller third base. Profar with some time. And they're 2 away. So our AT&T high-speed internet replay, and that was a big hit of that 7th inning. Brad Miller's bases clearing double. Souza, Maile, Longoria all scoring on the double by Miller, capping the 4-run frame. And since added another run this inning on the RBI double by Souza. So 2 away, and here's Mahtook, who is 0 for 4. One of just 2 Rays in the lineup in tonight's game without a hit in this game. Good breaking ball by Martinez. And Logan Morrison both 0 for 4. Martinez ahead of Mahtook, 0-2 for the Rangers in the ninth. Down by 7 runs. We'll have Lucroy, Moreland, and Mazzara-Du. Kenny Romero, the left-hander, battled through some back stiffness, loosening up in their pen. Well, Mahtook strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Puts it into the inning. 8-1 Rays as we go to the 9th inning. Yeah, thanks, Danny. We go to the 9th inning here. A 7-run Rays lead. And last chance for the Rangers to get it going. They're going to have to do it against Enny Romero, just off the disabled list today.
Yeah, Romero appearing in his 38th ball game of the year. 1-0, a 5.23 ERA. 256 opponent's batting average. Has worked almost 33 innings this year.
Well, it comes after Jonathan Lucroy. Get things started in the 9th. This is high. Lucroy with a double tonight in 3 tries. You see this pretty good arm. Richie Schaefer checks in the game at 3rd. He was recalled from AAA Durham today, his 2nd stint with the Rays this season. So a late inning defensive substitution. Day game tomorrow, so just giving Longoria a little extra time to catch his breath. 2-1 on Lucroy. Rangers need base runners, and once they do that, they'll need some more base runners. Romero buries it, and it's 3-1. Romero now the 4th pitcher of the night for Tampa Bay. Jake Odorizzi went 6 innings, gave up a run on 6 hits. Then Xavier Cedeno, Erasmo Ramirez, both scoreless innings. Bouncer, left side of the infield, and it's corralled by Duffy. Good throw to first. Gets Lucroy, 1 away in the 9th. Romero, we mentioned, had a strained back, which put him on the disabled list. Just 1 rehab appearance before rejoining the club. And that was on Thursday against Jupiter. Not far from here, other side of the state. Last time he pitched in the big leagues, August 3rd against the Kansas City Royals. As Moreland takes ball 1. Moreland 0 for 3. One dropped right in there. He evens the count 1-1 on Mitch. Lefty on lefty. Romero gets ahead 1-2. Yeah, got the rally caps going. And a strikeout of Moreland, 2 away.
Yeah, pretty tough breaking ball. Left-hander against left-hander. You haven't seen him much before, and that's generally going to be the outcome. You get it down there, and most left-handers not going to be able to lay off that pitch.
A visit on the mound, and they will make a change. Andy Romero done, so it comes on, retires the 2 left-handers he faces, and a new Rays pitcher coming on. We'll be back with him in just a moment. Seven, and Kevin Jepson has come on to try and get that final out for the Rays.
Yeah, Kevin Jepson, oft-traveled Kevin Jepson, the 47th appearance of the year. 2-5 with a 5.22 ERA, and trying to get the final out of this ball game for the Rays.
He yanks one in on Nomar Mazara. Nomar 0 for 3 tonight. And a moment ago, it looked as if he might not get another at-bat in this one. Delano DeShields was preparing to hit should Enny Romero have stayed in the game. And is in there, and the count 1-1 on Mazara. Instead, Kevin Cash goes to his bullpen and brings in Jepson. And Mazara able to stay in there. 1-1 to the rookie. 0-2. Rangers have produced some remarkable comeback efforts this year. I say with great confidence, this would be the greatest of all time if they could pull this one off. The 2-1. And Mazara lifts a high fly ball out to right field. Souza going back to the fence, leaps, and it's gone. Caught by a Rangers fan in the first row of the bleachers in right field. That'll be 14th homer of the year for Mazara. Then that's step number 1.
That's what Kevin Cash gets for making a pitching change with 2 outs and bases empty in the 9th inning, leading by 7 runs. Well, the Rangers come back and score 9 runs again. Well, Mazara got that pitch down out over the plate, and he really got to it. And you see Nomar hit some rocket shot on pitches just like that. Down and in, gets the head of the bat out and drove it out into that first row. Now, you wouldn't normally think coming into the ballpark you'd need a glove out in that part of the ballpark. You might need it.
So now Cash going to challenge the play by our fan out there in right field. Did he interfere with the opportunity of Souza to make a play? I'll say this much, he was positioned perfectly.
He was playing him the right way. That's right. You're going to have a devil of a time getting that overturned.
Souza trying to sell it there at the end. I'll say, watching the fan, I thought he was pretty conscious of the railing and trying not to get too far out there. Almost looked like a catcher framing a ball, snapped at it, brought it back in. Our official umpire review brought to you by Ford. Now, they call a home run. Reviews have not gone the Rangers' way tonight, though, including the biggest of the night back in the 6th inning when Beltre initially scored safe on a play at the plate, but then called out for the final out of the inning upon review. Mazara hoping this is home run number 14 of his rookie year. And indeed, it is. There you go, Gary Cederstrom. The official signal, home run. So now, inning continues. And Jepson may have just hit the bull. Nobody's safe at the moment. Elvis with 2 hits tonight. The 1-0 pitch. Additional run there. Way off the plate. Elvis approaching 300 for the season. Jepson finding his command a little bit here. Second-year manager Kevin Cash trying to get everybody some work in this 9th inning. And there's the automatic strike call.
That's what extra BP is for.
Right. And he walks Elvis Andrus. It's an 8-2 ball game. And it turns the lineup over now as Profar comes to the plate. 1 for 4 tonight. Well, right now, I think it might be a good strategy to make this guy throw you a strike. Runner going, and there is a strike. Andrus takes second base, uncontested. I think they call that defensive indifference. So not a steal for Elvis, but he is out there in scoring position. A pitch to Profar. And the count 0-2. The Rangers down to their final strike tonight. But even down by 7 runs in the 9th inning, there were 2 out. They never ever quit. Nomar Mazara with a home run. Andrus now out at second. The pitch from Jackson. Tomorrow, the final game in this series. Drew Smyly, the left-hander, will go for Tampa Bay. Martin Perez will have the ball for the Rangers. That's a 12-10 first pitch tomorrow afternoon. 1-2 pitch. Bounce to the right side of the infield. Beckham there on top of it. Throws to first, and that will do it. Rangers leave a man in the 9th inning, but they tacked on that one last run. 8-2 the final score. Rays even this series at 1 win apiece. Back with more in just a moment.